Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Life with Annie. Happy Easter. And I've got my ham is just started in the oven, and we're just going to cook it really low. It's a fully cooked ham, but it has to cook for like 20 minutes per pound. So it's going to cook for about, what, 3 hours did we say?
We got 3 hours. Well, that was at 325. We got a little bit lower.
Yeah, we lowered our temp just a little bit because
So
we didn't want it to be too soon. And I also have Mama's beans, green beans here. I've just got a large can of green beans, and she likes to put fat back in it and just let it cook really a long time. And the fat back just gives it a great flavor. And I made my deviled eggs yesterday. If y'all were with me when we dyed eggs yesterday morning, I made the deviled eggs last night. And today I'm going to make a dessert. I talked about this on yesterday's video, and it's for a slow cooker coconut cake. And I think Matt's excited for me to try this one. Yeah, he's nodding his head. I'm excited to try it. I hope it turns out, but we will see. So let me give you the ingredients. So last night I pre-measured stuff and kind of got things organized, and so I had all that done. So what you need for this is, for the cake, you need 3 large eggs, 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, which is what we call down here Eagle brand. And you're going to need 3 tablespoons of butter. And then you're going to need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, so I'm going to give you the whole ingredients. It's going to tell you what you need for the topping and for the cake. So it's 3 large eggs, 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, 3 tablespoons of butter, softened, a teaspoon of vanilla, 1.5 cups of shredded coconut flakes, 1 14-ounce can of coconut milk, and this is coconut milk. And then you're going to need powdered sugar, a cup, which is optional, and we're going to leave it out. We're going to try it without the powdered sugar. 2.5 cups of plain all-purpose flour, another can of coconut milk. It's going to be for the topping, so I've got another can of the coconut milk here. 14-ounce can of evaporated milk, which we have open right here. So you're going to need a can of Eagle brand, a can of evaporated, and a can of coconut milk for the cake, I think. I'll tell you the details when we get to it. 3 tablespoons of sugar, and you're going to need some more vanilla and some more sugar for the topping. So it tells you to line your crock pot, to grease the bottom of your crock pot with some spray Pam or something like that. I'm out. So I did put some butter in the bottom of the crock pot, and then it says to put some parchment paper down inside the crock pot. I did that, and I also buttered that a little bit. So that's where we are there. So I'm going to set my crock pot over here with my crock pot container, and we'll move our bowl over here. Now I'm going to do all this by hand. I'm sure it would turn out faster if you did use a mixer, a hand mixer, but we're going to do it this way. So the first thing it tells me to do is, in a bowl, cream together butter and sugar. So this is 3 tablespoons of sugar, and then I think it's 3 tablespoons of butter. Let me make sure I read this right. Cream together butter and sugar. Yes, it's 2 tablespoons of sugar, 3 tablespoons of butter. And I left my butter out to soften, so I'm just going to cream it together with a whisk here. and then we're going to add our 3 eggs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video here because I've got to wash my 3 eggs. I did lay them out, but I've got to wash them. And we have fresh eggs, so if you know how to, deal with your chicken eggs, you need to wash them before you use them. And so let me do that, and then we'll mix in the eggs and get all this combined, and we'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to add in our can of coconut milk. Our can of evaporated milk. This is a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk that I'm using, and a 13.5-ounce can of coconut milk, and then our Eagle brand sweetened condensed milk is, I believe, 14 ounces. I can't read that, it's too light. So we're going to add that in. The whole can. Matt says it kind of sounds like partly a tres leches cake, which we love. That is one of our favorite cakes. And so it sounds like it could be a really good cake. Now, the crock pot method I'm not sure about, so this is an experiment for us. We're gonna try it. You gotta get all that Eagle brand milk. We're going to add in our 2.5 cups of flour in little smaller batches once I get all this cream together. So again, it's 3 large eggs, 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, 3 tablespoons of butter softened, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and let's see, 2.5 cups of plain all-purpose flour, 14-ounce can of coconut milk, 14-ounce can of evaporated milk. And I'm not sure if I think I said 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar. This recipe is not the most clear recipe in the way that they listed everything. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add in the vanilla, and it's a teaspoon. And my beans are starting to simmer back here. All right. So I've already got our flour measured out. Give this another quick mix. Now, when I opened my parchment paper, I only had a small little piece left. So I put in there what I had. I really don't know why you couldn't just put it in your crock pot, because it's going to be like, to me, I think it's going to be more like of a scoopable cake because of all this liquid in here, but we will wait and see. If I have more than I need and it goes over the parchment, well, we will just have to see what happens. All right, I'm going to start adding this flour in. We'll mix a little bit in at a time. Y'all, I watched a good movie last night. We don't get many channels that offer good movies. Mama has seen every Lifetime movie that they offer. She's seen them multiple times, and she's always complaining about reruns. Well, last night I was talking to her on the phone, and she was watching another rerun on Lifetime, And I got off the phone after we finished talking. I got off the phone. I was flipping just to see what was on. And I turned it on Sci-Fi. And there was a movie called Beast. And I'm like, well, what is this? I thought it's going to be some kind of mythical something, which I don't really care for those movies. But I thought, let me just kind of check it out. Well, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. So when I saw what it was starting out to be, I said, let me call Mama and see if she's seen this. And I said, Mama, there's a movie on Sci-Fi. I said, it looks kind of good. You might want to check it out. And she said, well, let me turn it over there. She said, I think I've seen this before. And I said, well, I think I'm going to go watch it because it's kind of got me interested. And so she said, I'll watch it and see if I've seen it. So she called me back during one of the commercials and she said, now why are they there? And it's pretty good. And so we both ended up watching the movie last night. It's called Beast. It's about this man and his two children. They had lost their mother and his wife to illness. And so they had friends in Africa. I think it was Africa. But I missed the very, very beginning. So I may be wrong on the destination. But I think it was like in the bush. And it was about a lion. And I loved it because, you know, I used to watch all of the safari drives live on the internet for years. And I knew a lot about lions and prides and coalitions and how they, you know, how they live together. And so it was basically about a lion, a rogue lion sort of, and his pride, which are the female lions and all the offspring of the male. It's called a pride. The males are called a coalition. Anyway, poachers had killed his entire pride. And so he was like on a mission to kill poachers. And this man and his two children and their friend went out for a little safari tour, and they came across a village where a bunch of the villagers were all killed by this rogue lion. Anyway, that's how the story goes. And they kind of get trapped out in the bush. It was really a good movie. Considering I haven't seen a good movie on regular TV in a long time, I thought it was pretty good. So I called Mama this morning and she said, yeah, she liked it. So she said, but I think it's coming on again today. I don't know if she said around 5 or something. She said, I want to watch it because I missed the very beginning of it. So I was glad that she enjoyed that movie. Y'all, I can tell y'all right now, I think that this is I'm going to turn my beans down now that they're up to a soft boil and let them kind of cook and simmer all day. I'm thinking I'm not going to have enough parchment, but I may put a little more butter up the sides a little higher and see. Because I don't know how this cake's going to rise. Doesn't have any, it's got plain all-purpose flour, so there's no leavening added, no baking soda or baking powder. I'm just trying to get some of these lumps out. It's a beautiful day here, another beautiful day. So, a beautiful day in a lot of ways. All right. So let me make sure I got everything. We creamed our butter and sugar. We put in our eggs, one at a time. We mixed in our coconut milk, sweetened condensed milk, evaporated milk, and vanilla, and our flour. All right, everything is incorporated, I think. All right, let me get this over in the sink. Okay, so now I'm gonna pour. I don't have my crock pot turned on yet, so I'm going to bring this over, move that out of the way. So there's what we have for the parchment. So like I say, it's very shallow in some spots, but kind of, I think what I'm going to do, now look at this little bunny rabbit my sister painted. She gave everybody a little treat when she came over for my little spring event, and she painted those little bunnies, put them in those little frames for everybody. I think I'm going to put some more butter around the top of this crock just in case. I think we're going to have overflow, and that way it'll help it to not stick as much. I did put butter underneath this parchment, but I'm going to put a little bit more. So I've never made this cake before. It sounds like it'll be delicious. I'm just going to try it. All right. I just got a little bit of butter left on this little wrapper, so I think I'm just going to add this. Okay. All right, let's pour this in. Now I did this by hand, like I said, so if you want to get out your blender, your mixer, you can certainly do that. But, okay, now I'm gonna see if y'all can see what I'm doing. All right, let's pour it in. Have y'all ever made a cake in the crock pot? I'm trying to think. I don't remember. Maybe a dump cake type, maybe. I'm not even sure if I've done that, but we're going to give it a shot. All right. It did go over a little bit in some areas, but I'm not too concerned about it. So there is our cake. I'm going to pop this over here in my crock pot container, and let's see. It says cook on high for 3 to 4 hours. After 3 hours, regularly check cake until center has just set, and then reduce cooking time if using a larger slow cooker. I think this is a 3-quart here. So if you use, like, if I used my bigger one, I probably would, wouldn't have it as high, but I think this is, we're gonna try it and see. Okay, then you're gonna turn off your slow cooker when your cake is done, and you're going to make your topping. And in a saucepan, you're gonna whisk together another can of the coconut milk. I got my little basket of goodies here. Another can of the coconut milk, and the sugar. I think this is two tablespoons of sugar this time. And then coconut. You're going to add, how much coconut was it? 1.5 cups. There is 2.5 cups in here, so we're going to use 1.5 cups of that. So turn off your slow cooker. In a saucepan, mix coconut milk, sugar, vanilla. So a teaspoon of vanilla is what I'll add to that. And the coconut flakes until the mixture reaches a low simmer. You can stir in the 1 cup of powdered sugar. At this point, it's optional, so we're leaving it out. And just stir it until the sauce is lightly thickened. So if you want a thicker sauce, add in that powdered sugar. We'll see. I kind of like for it to kind of be a looser sauce and kind of seep down into the cake, but we'll see. Then pour directly over the cake in the slow cooker. Carefully remove the cake from the slow cooker using the parchment paper to help lift from the basin and transfer to serving dish. We're probably just going to dip out of that, depending on how it turns out. So, I've got my ingredients for the topping right here in my little basket. So we will finish that up in about 3 hours, and hopefully it's going to be delicious. So I will try to do a second part to this cake and show you the topping and how it turns out. Fingers crossed, because this is going to be our Easter dessert today. Like I said, I've got my green beans going here. My deviled eggs are made. The ham is in the oven. I do have a sweet potato casserole and a broccoli rice casserole. And I bought, let's see, did Matt bring them up here? Let's see, yes. For our bread, we're going to have, now that I've discovered these, the Texas Roadhouse dinner rolls. I found these at Walmart. I found them at 2 different Walmarts. So if you're interested in these, they really are good. They come with a little packet of the cinnamon glaze, sugar glaze, or whatever it is that they put on them. And yeah, honey cinnamon glaze. They're little mini rolls. And so we enjoyed them the first time I bought them. Mama liked them because I had taken her a plate with some of them on there. So we're going to have these again today. So I'm going to go, and I can kind of relax a little bit because most of my cooking and prepping was done yesterday. The ham is cooking and the cake is going to be cooking. I'm going to go, it says on high for 3 hours. So everything's going to be delicious, I hope. I hope y'all have a wonderful Easter. I hope you're having a lot of sunshine wherever you are. And if you're not, remember, you can make your own sunshine. All right, thanks so much for watching, and watch for part 2 of this video. Bye, everybody.